Hello, everyone. Welcome to True Life Tales. I am Zara.
And I am Leo. So happy you are here with us today.
You know, Leo, I have been thinking about this story for a long time. I was not sure if I was ready to share it. But today, I am.
And I have to say, when Zara told me this story privately, my jaw just dropped. Like, completely dropped.
It is the story of my best friend. Someone I trusted more than almost anyone in my life. Someone I thought I knew completely.
And she did not know her at all. Not really.
I thought I knew everything about her. Her family, her job, her relationship, everything. But it was all a lie.
Today, on True Life Tales, Zara is sharing something incredibly personal. A story about trust, betrayal, and the moment everything changed.
And by the end of this episode, I think you are going to look at the people around you very differently. Before we start, we want to hear from you. Have you ever felt like someone close to you was hiding something? Drop it in the comments right now. And if you're new here, welcome to our True Life Tales family. Please subscribe so you never miss a real story like this one.
Okay, Zara.
I think it is time. Take us back to the beginning.
Who was she?
Her name was Sarah. We met in college. First day, first class. She sat right next to me and said, "I like your shoes." And that was it. We were inseparable from that moment.
Just like that? Instant connection?
Instant. She was funny and warm and confident. The kind of person who walks into a room and everyone notices. I always felt so lucky to be her best friend.
That feeling of having someone like that in your life. Someone who just makes everything more fun.
Exactly. And for years, everything was perfect. We graduated together. We got our first jobs around the same time. We talked every single day. She was the first person I called when anything happened in my life.
Good or bad?
Good or bad. Always. She knew everything about me. My fears, my dreams, my secrets, everything.
And you thought you knew everything about her too.
I was so sure. She told me about her family, her parents, her younger brother. She told me about her boyfriend, David. How they had been together for 3 years. How she thought he might be the one. She sounds like someone who shared a lot. That is what I thought. She always had stories, always had details, always had answers. I never once questioned anything she told me.
Have you ever had a friend like that? Someone who felt like your other half? Tell us in the comments. We would love to hear about your friendships. And then one day, everything started to feel just slightly off. What do you mean? What happened?
It started small. So small I almost missed it. I called her one evening and she did not pick up, which was fine. People miss calls. But then she texted me an hour later and said, "Sorry, I was with my family."
Okay, that sounds normal.
It was normal. Except the next day I ran into her neighbor in the supermarket, and her neighbor mentioned that Sarah had not visited her parents in months, that they were actually worried about her.
Wait, so she lied about being with her family?
I told myself there was an explanation. Maybe she meant different family. Maybe she was with David. I did not want to make it into something big.
You gave her the benefit of the doubt because you trusted her.
Completely. But then a few weeks later, something else happened. I mentioned David in a conversation. I asked how things were going with him. And she paused. Just for a second. But I noticed it. What kind of pause? The kind where someone is deciding what to say. Not remembering. Deciding. And then she smiled and said, "Everything is great. He might be taking me to Paris next month."
Okay, that is a very specific detail to just make up on the spot.
That is what I thought later. At the time, I was excited for her. Paris. I even started asking her about it every week. What are you going to pack? Which restaurants are you going to visit?
And did she go?
She told me it got canceled. Work came up for David. I felt so bad for her. I sent her flowers.
Oh, Zara.
I know. But I had no reason not to believe her. Not yet.
Has anyone ever told you a story that felt slightly off, but you ignored that feeling? Tell us in the comments. Sometimes our instincts know before our minds do.
And then came the day I found out the truth. And Leo, I was not ready for it. Not even close.
Okay, tell us. What happened?
It was a Saturday afternoon. I was in the city, doing some shopping, and I saw Sarah across the street, which was lovely. A surprise. I was about to call her name when I stopped.
Why did you stop?
Because she was with someone. A man. And they were walking very close together. Holding hands. And I thought, okay, maybe that is David. I have never actually met David in person. 3 years of friendship, and I had never met him.
Wait, 3 years and you never met her boyfriend?
There was always a reason. He was busy. He was traveling. The timing never worked. I accepted every excuse.
It is actually really significant looking back.
Huge. So I stood there watching them for a moment. And then I took out my phone and I called Sarah. Just to say, hey, I can see you across the street. Come say hello.
What happened when you called?
She picked up. And she said, hey, I'm just at home. Relaxing today. Nothing going on.
She said she was at home while you were watching her across the street?
While I was watching her hold hands with a man across the street. In real time. Leo, I cannot describe how that felt.
That is one of the most shocking things I have ever heard. That moment when reality and what someone is telling you just completely do not match.
I hung up the phone. I walked across the street. And I said her name.
What did she do?
She went completely white. Like all the color just left her face. And the man next to her looked confused. And then Sarah looked at me and she said, Sarah, I can explain.
Those 4 words, I can explain, that is never a good sign.
Never. And what came out of her mouth next changed everything I thought I knew about her.
I need everyone listening right now to pause and think. Have you ever caught someone in a lie that completely changed how you saw them? Drop your story in the comments. This is a safe place. It turned out that that man was not David. Because David did not exist. There was no David. There
There was no Paris trip. There was no boyfriend of 3 years. She invented an entire relationship? An entire relationship for 3 years, complete with stories and details and canceled trips and inside jokes about someone who was not real. But then, who was that man? That was her husband. Her husband? She had been married for 2 years. Secretly. Her family did not know. Her friends did not know. Nobody knew. She had built 2 completely separate lives and was living both of them at the same time. Zara, I genuinely have chills right now.
She went completely white. Like all the color just left her face. And the man next to her looked confused. And then Zara looked at me and she said, "Zara, I can explain."
Those 4 words, I can explain, that is never a good sign.
Never. And what came out of her mouth next changed everything I thought I knew about her.
I need everyone listening right now to pause and think. Have you ever caught someone in a lie that completely changed how you saw them? Drop your story in the comments. This is a safe place.
It turned out that that man was not David. Because David did not exist. There was no David. There was no Paris trip. There was no boyfriend of 3 years. She invented an entire relationship? An entire relationship for 3 years, complete with stories and details and canceled trips and inside jokes about someone who was not real. But then, who was that man? That was her husband. Her husband? She had been married for 2 years. Secretly. Her family did not know. Her friends did not know. Nobody knew. She had built 2 completely separate lives and was living both of them at the same time. Zara, I genuinely have chills right now.
When she said those words, Leo, I just stood there. I could not speak. I could not move. 3 years of friendship, and I did not know the most basic things about her life.
And the scariest part is not even the lying. It is how easy it was, how naturally she did it, how she never slipped up until you literally saw her with your own eyes. That is what haunted me the most. Not the secrets, but the ease of it. The smile, the details, the flowers I sent her when the fake Paris trip got canceled. So what happened after that moment on the street?
We stood there for a while. Her husband was confused and upset. She was crying. I was completely numb. And eventually I just said, I need to go. And I walked away.
Did you ever talk to her again?
Once. She called me a week later. She said she was sorry. She said she had been living in fear for years, that she had made choices she could not take back and did not know how to be honest anymore.
That is actually really sad. Not excusing it, but sad.
I know. And I felt that too. Underneath the hurt and the shock, I felt genuinely sad for her. Because whatever she was hiding from, it was clearly very heavy.
What do you think is the biggest lesson from this story?
For me, it is this. You can love someone deeply and still not truly know them. And that is not your fault. Some people build walls so high that even the people closest to them cannot see over them.
And second lesson, trust your instincts.
Those small moments where something felt slightly off, your gut knew before your mind did. Always listen to that feeling. It is there for a reason.
Which part of this story hit you the hardest?
Tell us in the comments right now. Okay, we want to hear from you now, because I know many of you have your own stories.
Here are some questions for you. Please share your answers in the comments.
Question 1. Have you ever discovered that someone close to you was living a secret life?
Question 2. What was the moment you realized something was not right?
Question 3. How did you handle the betrayal? Did you walk away, or did you try to understand?
Question 4. Do you think people who lie so deeply are doing it out of fear or selfishness?
Question 5. Is there someone in your life right now who feels slightly off? Trust that feeling.
Your stories matter. Every comment you leave might help someone else feel less alone in what they are going through.
This community is everything to us, so please share. We read every single comment. So today, we talked about Sarah, my best friend of 3 years, the person I thought I knew better than almost anyone.
We talked about the small signs that something was off. The pauses, the excuses, the canceled trips.
We talked about that moment on the street when reality and her words did not match. And we talked about what came after.
And we talked about 2 very important lessons. You can love someone and still not truly know them. And your instincts are always worth listening to.
If you are going through something similar right now, I want you to know this. Being deceived by someone you love does not make you foolish. It makes you human. You trusted. That is never wrong.
Give yourself grace and give yourself time.
Please subscribe to True Life Tales so you never miss a story like this one. Like this video, share it with someone who needs it today, and leave us a comment below.
Thank you so much for spending this time with us. We see you. We hear you. And your stories matter to us more than you know.
Until next time, keep going. Your story is not over.
This is Leo.
And this is Zara, saying see you next time on True Life Tales.